Hi everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Hey Annie, in the live chat. Guys, make sure you present yourselves in the live chat. Today we're going to do something super fun. We're going to analyze a cool article from 2010. Okay, so it's pretty cool. It's about the Olympics. And yeah, it's going to be pretty fun. We're going to look at some of the different grammar as well as writing style and stuff like that. All right, so it's going to be pretty cool. I know Annie, you asked for some grammar stuff. Some other people asked for some grammar stuff. So we're going to do some grammar and writing today. All right. So I have the article on the screen. All right. But if you want to pull up the article on your computer because it's easier for you or something like that, here's the link. It's from the Telegraph, okay, which is an English paper. And yeah, so let's get into it. All right. Do you have any questions before we start? Are you ready to go? We're just going to analyze this article and do some practice with the grammar that's used in this article. Okay. So yeah, it's going to be fun. All right. So let's look at it. I don't know if you guys remember, but the 2010 Olympics were held in Vancouver, which is in Canada. I'm from Canada. I'm Canadian, and it was a big thing. It was a big thing. I think the world really enjoyed the 2010 Olympics, but especially in Canada, it was huge for us. Yeah, and 2010, the Olympic gold medal hockey game was a big story, and you're going to find out why in this article if you don't remember what happened. So let's look at it. All right. So the title here, Winter Olympics 2010. Sidney Crosby hands Canada ice hockey gold over rivals USA. Okay, so the first thing I want you to note is this is a British article. Okay, in Canada, when we say hockey, it's automatically on ice, because in Brit they say field hockey and stuff like that. But when in Canada, when we say hockey, it's automatically on ice. If it's another type of hockey like ball hockey, we say ball hockey. But if it's just plain, or if it's on the road because we play on the street, we'll say road hockey. Okay, but if it's just hockey's hockey on ice, we say just hockey. All right, so let's look here. So Canada's fantasy has been brought. Which tense? Any or anyone else listening? I see we have quite a few viewers. Present yourselves in the comment in the live chat. But which tense is that? Let me read it in the live chat. Has been brought. Which tense is that? Okay, Canada's fantasy has been brought to vivid life here in Vancouver. So keep in mind, this article was written in 2010. All right, so at the time of this article, this is a recent statement. Okay, this is a recent article. So this was written in 2010. It's not written in 2019. Okay, this was written in 2010. It's not a look back. So which tense is this, and why is the writer using this tense? Can anyone explain? Any or anyone else listening? Why is the writer using this tense? Just waiting for your answers to come in. In the meantime, I'll tell you that Sidney Crosby here, okay, He was back then, and he still is arguably today the best player in the world. Okay? And what you have to know is hockey for Canadians, it's something that, it's near and dear to our hearts. All right? So that's something you have to know. But yeah, so I don't see any comments coming in yet about this. But so has been brought, guys, is which tense? It's the present perfect. Okay, specifically the present perfect simple. Okay, why do we use the present perfect simple in this sentence? Okay, so Annie says past tense, talk about past. So it's not the past, right? So this is a very, very, very important distinction. Okay? The distinction, Annie, don't worry about retracting your message, okay? Don't worry. You can say the answer and I can help, right? It's good if you leave the answer so people can see later what I'm talking about. But so has been brought is the present perfect simple tense. Okay, past tense, past simple is so Canada's fantasy. Okay. Okay. Because it's a recent action. Okay, it's a recent action. We can use this present perfect. Okay. Present perfect. Okay, simple. But this is also in the passive voice, right? So you have to be careful. But what I want to point out here, what's important, what's really important here is, okay, what's important here is that there's no specific time period, okay, mentioned in the sentence. So if I say I went to the store yesterday, here we have yesterday. All right, yesterday is our specific time period. All right, specific time period. Right, so we're specifying when something happened. Okay, the moment. When we specify, we use the past simple. Okay, so right, it's go, went. Went is the past simple, but we'll use the present perfect simple when we don't mention it. For example, I've seen Toy Story, okay, the movie. I've seen Toy Story many times. Hi, Rob. No problem about being late. That's perfectly okay. So I've seen Toy Story many times. Here we do not specify when we saw Toy Story. So when we use the present perfect simple, the when is unknown or unimportant. So this is something that's very cool about the English language, and that is that a lot of languages, when we're talking about a past event, okay, we just have this past simple tense. But when we don't care when something happened in English, or it's like or it's unknown, all right, we can use the present perfect. We can also use the present perfect for recent actions, such as in this example here. So Canada's fantasy has been brought to vivid life here in Vancouver. All right. So yeah. So this we can use for recent actions. All right. Let's move on to the next sentence. In what will be enshrined as a nation's finest sporting hour. Okay, in what will be enshrined as a nation's finest sporting hour, their ice hockey men skated thrillingly to a 14th gold medal in the climactic final event of these winter games to break an all-time Olympic record. All right, sorry, I think the garbage truck is outside. It's making some noise. But I digress. So, and what will be enshrined? So, will be enshrined, right? Once again, here we're using, okay, the passive, all right? But we're using it in the future now, all right? Their ice hockey men skated thrillingly to a 14th gold medal in the climactic final event. So, skated, right? Which tense is skated? Which tense is that? And why do we use the past simple here? Why do we use the past simple in this case? By the way, guys, if you have any questions, Rob, anyone else listening, ask in the live chat. Any meaning of words or something you don't understand in the sentence, please be my guest, ask in the live chat. Also, guys, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So what does this mean, skated? Okay, and why, not what does this mean, but why do we use this tense, okay, in this sentence? All right, why do we use this tense? Okay, any guesses, guys? Rob, anyone else listening? All right, pretty important to distinguish the difference between the present, the past simple and the present perfect. All right, that's an important thing we have to know. All right, the language used here is pretty good, right? So they skated thrillingly. Thrillingly, okay, describes the verb. Okay, so that's an adverb, right? That's an adverb, right? So they skated thrillingly to a 14th gold medal. Okay, so their 14th gold medal in the climactic final event. So that was the final event back in 2010, and it usually is every Olympics, the men's hockey final. Right, to break an all-time Olympic record. So to break a record means that you surpass that record, right? The previous record, right? You break it. So you're better, okay? You're better than what was accomplished in the past. All right? So I don't see any responses coming in, but skated, guys, Rob says skated because it was in the past. So yes, it was in the past, all right? So I want to distinguish, Rob, why don't we say their ice hockey men have skated thrillingly to a 14th gold medal in the climactic event, final event, okay? Here we specify when it happens. Once again, when you specify when, okay, you specify when, the tendency is to use the past simple, right? So when did it happen? In the climactic final event. Okay, so in this case we use the past simple, skated. All right, pretty important there. Okay, good. Let's move on to the next paragraph. No country had ever previously won more than 13 golds in a single games. So in a single games means a single, oh actually what does that mean in a single games? Why do we use S here, plural? Let me know in the live chat. So no country had ever previously won more than 13 golds in a single games, but when their golden boy Sidney Crosby smashed home the puck to earn an, okay, there's a guys, see, this is an article that I took from a historic. What's the mistake? Let me know in the live chat as well. What's the mistake? So why do we use games with an S? And what's the mistake here? To earn an historic 3-2 overtime win over the USA. What's the mistake there? It prompted a final unreal crescendo of national fervor, the like of which has rarely been experienced at an Olympics. Okay, so this national fervor, this passion, right? This craziness, this excitement, okay, which has rarely been experienced at an Olympics. At an Olympics. Yes, time to drink Canada dry. Okay, so Rob says a historic is the mistake. Very good, Rob. So you see, British people, they make writing mistakes too. Yeah, they're not the gods of English, I guess. All right, but so so historic, right? That's a voiced H, right? It's not silent, right? An hour, okay? An honest person. We use an for a silent H, right? We also use an for vowels, but for silent H's, okay? But for a voiced H, like historic, a horse, right? If it's voiced, we use H. Sorry, there's something stuck in my throat. Okay. So coming back to games here. Okay. In a single games, we're talking about the Olympic Games. Okay, that's why he uses games with an S there. Okay, in a single Olympic Games, in one Olympic Games. All right. What I want to come back to now is the verb tense used at the beginning of the paragraph. No country had ever previously won more than 13 golds. Oh my gosh, the cereal is stuck in my throat. So, why do we use had ever previously? Why do we use that tense? Okay. You guys, let me know. I'm going to go get some water for my throat. Just wait 1 second. Okay, wait 1 second, guys. I'll leave the mic on so I can talk to you. I'm just going to get some juice or something. Sorry, guys. I'll be right there. Hello, I'm back. I'm back. I've got my orange juice. So Rob's saying, drink some water. Yeah, Rob, I did, and I coughed, and I feel better. But yeah, so why do we use that tense, guys? Does anyone know? Had ever previously? Does anyone know? Does anyone know? So guys, which tense is this first of all, right? It's the had ever previously won, right? Sorry, I should have wrote had ever previously won. So yes, so Annie says it's the past perfect tense. Perfect, very good job, Annie. So Annie, why do we use the past perfect in this sentence? Annie or Rob, can you tell me why is the past perfect used in this sentence? All right. While you answer that, I just want to point out a little thing here. So, but when their golden boy Sidney Crosby smashed home the puck, that means, okay, their golden boy. A golden boy means like their number one star, right? Their golden boy. And that's true in Canada here. There's a love for Sidney Crosby. He's like a prodigy. He's older now. He was born in '87, so he's 32. So he was born on August 7th, 1987. So 8/7, right? 1987, which is cool. So his number is 87, and his contract is 8.7 million. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool numbers and stuff. So Rob says past perfect is to express something in a strong way. So Rob, no, that's not correct. That's not correct. Annie, do you have any ideas before I answer? So guys, past perfect, okay, is to express an action in the past, okay? I wish I had a little blackboard here that I could show you guys. Let me grab this piece of paper so I can show you sort of how this works on a timeline. So Annie says something occurred before another action in the past. Perfect, Annie. So Annie, you're a genius. All right, so guys, if we take a look here, my pen's not even working. All right, here's a pen. Perfect. So as Annie said, it's an action that occurs before another action in the past, right? So if we say this is now, okay, this is the 2010 Olympics, okay. So guys, if we look here, I hope you can see. So if this is now, and this is the 2010 Olympics, okay, no action had previously, so before this action, right? So let's say this is the gold medal game where Canada gets their 14 medals. Okay, Canada gets their 14 medals right here. Okay, they get their 14 medals, but before this, it had never happened. So before this, okay, this time, it had never happened. So Alexander said, honestly, I can never understand that. So Alexander, it's not that difficult, all right? So you have your action, this is now. So this is when he wrote the article. So this is article release. Okay, so here's when the article was released. Okay, here is the 2014. This is when they won the 14 goals. So a few hours before the article. And here it had never previously. So in the past, before an action, before another action. So here's one action, an action before that action in the past. That's past perfect. Let's do an example together. All right. So, so I could say, did you know that Mark had never been to Spain before our trip last year? So did you know that Mark had never been to Spain before our trip last year? So in this case, we use the past perfect, okay, had never been to Spain, okay? So let's say now is the present time. Here's our trip, okay? And here is before that action in the past. So we have two things in the past. The one before, okay, is past perfect. So another example here, okay. Let's do. I'll let you guys answer. You pick the tense that you think works. Okay. So let me write an example in the live chat. So they to France last week. They to France 5 years ago. 5 years ago. But they decided it was a good idea to visit again. So what's the answer here? So they to France last week. They to France 5 years ago, but they decided it was a good idea to visit again. Okay, so where do we use the past simple and where do we use the past perfect? Okay, in this example, in the live chat that I'm giving you. Okay, let me pull up some more examples. Okay, here, 1 second, guys. Okay, just pulling up some more examples for you guys to learn. All right. Okay. So let's try these ones. Okay. Here we go. I'll put another one in. You can work on it. So da-da-da. So Rob says number 1 went. They went to France last week. They had been to France 5 years ago, but they decided it was a good idea to visit again. Okay, so very good, Rob. Very good job. So I'll explain this. You guys answer the second one. So they went to France last week. This is in the past. Okay, and we specify when. Last week. So we can use the past simple. Went. Okay, the next one, they had been to France 5 years ago. So that's an action before another action in the past. So last week they went to France. Okay, before that, so even before that action, okay, they went to France 5 years ago. So they had been to France 5 years ago, but they decided it was a good idea to visit again. So an action before another action in the past, we use the past perfect. All right, I hope that's clear. So coming back to the article, the like of which, oh yeah, we haven't done the second one. So thanks for reminding me, Rob. So I had already eaten my dinner when he called. Very good job. So I had already eaten my dinner when he called. So the action, if we come back to our timeline, so if this is now, we say this is when he called and this is when I ate dinner. So we go 1, 2. The second one, sorry, I don't know if you could see this. Okay, so that we go 1, 2. This one has to be in the past perfect. Okay, so the very, very last action, the oldest action will be in the past perfect because it precedes another action in the past. This action is already in the past. Okay, very good. All right, so coming back here to the article. Yes, time to drink Canada Dry. So there's time to drink Canada Dry. That means let's celebrate, right? So I see we have quite a few viewers right now. Guys, participate in the live chat. And don't forget to give the video a like and consider subscribing to the channel. So let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the next page. Okay, the next part of this article. Okay. 1 second, here we go. So, some other examples here. So it says Canada had been leading 2-1 against the unbeaten Americans who had defeated them just a week earlier. So here, okay, we have the past perfect continuous. We have the past perfect continuous, right? Canada had been leading. So, why do we use the continuous form in this sentence? Because it was during the game, in the past, okay? And it was a continuous action, okay? So they had been leading, okay? But with just 24.4 seconds left, the visitors, okay, the Americans, having pulled off their, okay, so having pulled off their goaltender to launch one last desperate assault with an extra outfielder, managed to scrape an equalizer through Zach Parise. So the first thing I have to mention here is this is a British article. They don't know hockey terms. Okay, so I'm going to teach you some correct hockey lingo so you're not confused. So pulled off their goaltender. We don't say pulled off their goaltender in hockey. We say just pulled their goaltender. Okay, or just pulled their goaltender. Okay, or just pull the goalie. Okay, not pulled off their goaltender. That's yeah. So they're trying to like use football, soccer terms, and it's not working for them. But another one from the first page, it was like he smashed the puck into the net. Like that's something you would say in football, right? In soccer, oh, he smashed the ball in the back of the net. But in hockey, you don't say you smashed the puck. It's like, I don't know. It's not something we use. But anyway, I digress. Maybe I should have picked a Canadian article for this. But this was the first one that showed up. So anyway. So this is a complicated sentence, right? It's a long sentence. Let's try to analyze it together. Okay, so we're talking about something that happened. Okay, so they managed, so the US, if you look at the last part of the sentence there, they managed to scrape an equalizer. So an equalizer is when you tie the game, right? So the game was 2-1. Okay, then it was 2-2. Okay, so they got their equalizer. Guys, I remember that moment. My heart was coming through my chest because it was the end of the third period. It was the end of the game. I was like, okay, we're going to win the gold medal. And then just like with a minute left, the US scored, or 24.4 seconds left. Is that right? 24.4? I thought it was a bit more. But the US scored, and we're just like, oh my gosh, this isn't good. They're going to go into overtime, right? Overtime's overtime in that sense where it's not during the regular part of the game, but they're going to go into overtime, and the US is going to have the momentum, and we're going to get screwed. Okay, so pardon my French, but it was so emotional, guys, and we'll get to what happened. But so here we have managed to scrape an equalizer. So they scored. So we're talking about the action in the past of the US, the Americans scoring. Okay. So before the Americans scored, the Canadians were leading 2-0. So it's an action before another action in the past, right? Your action in the past, right? Action in the past, okay, is the US scoring, right? Which is referred to in this sentence as managed to scrape, okay? Managed, right? Managed is our past, okay? So past simple, but before that past simple action, Canada was leading, which was a continuous action, right? They weren't just leading for 1 second. It wasn't an action like just complete. They were leading, right, during the game. So an action before that mark where they scored, they had been leading before that. They had been leading, and then the US scored. Okay, then the US scored. So Anyone that's just joined, please present yourselves in the live chat. All right. So an action before they scored. Okay, they had been leading. Okay, continuous, and then the U.S. scored. We're still in the past, right? So this is now. In the past, they scored, but before that, Canada was leading. So we say Canada had been leading because it's an action before another action, this action, US scoring in the past. Okay, so Rob and Annie are having a little conversation about hockey in the live chat. That's super cool. Yeah, I'm glad you're learning about hockey. So this is another very interesting point. Okay, managed to scrape an equalizer through Zach Parise. Okay, Zach Parise, his father was actually, well, I'm not sure if he's dead, but he's Canadian. Okay, his name was Jean-Paul Parise. He was French Canadian, and he played for Team Canada as well in 1972. Okay, not at the Olympics, but at the Summit Series. Okay, because back then professional players didn't play at the Olympics. Okay, but his fault. So Zach Parise in Canada is sort of seen like, oh, this sort of traitor, because he plays for the U.S. Because he was born in the U.S. His dad was playing for an American team, so he was born in the U.S., raised in the U.S. He still could have played for Canada, but he decided he's a very good player. He's one of the only Americans maybe that could have made the Canadian Olympic team. All right, so him scoring was like, oh my gosh, Zach Parise, Canadian, scoring against Canada. We're so pissed. Anyway, so let's continue on in the article. So Canada had been leading, right? And then against the unbeaten Americans who had defeated them just a week earlier. So before this game, the US defeated us. Okay, so an action, okay, before Canada won in the past, right? This is now. Before Canada won, before that action, okay, the US beat us. They won. So again, an action before another action in the past, past perfect. But this time we just use past perfect simple. Who had defeated them? Why? Because it's just an action like this and complete. It wasn't defeating, not continuous, like Canada had been leading and then Zach Parise scored. No, they defeated us before Canada won the second time. All right, so that's the difference between the past perfect and the past perfect continuous. Is that clear, Annie and Rob? Please let me know in the live chat. Okay, is that clear, guys? Is that clear? So let's move on. So it goes on, right? 25 seconds. Agony. So this is a good little writing tip that you guys can use, right? If you want to be dramatic, use short sentences, even one-word sentences, right, to be dramatic in your writing. It's not something you do all the time because then it loses its dramatic effect. But if you want to just use it sometimes, it could be a great writing tool, right? So 25 seconds. Agony. The banners, the banners read Destiny on Ice, but it felt as if Canada's destiny was just going to be too cruel. That is, until Sid the Kid stepped up. Okay, so stepped up means that he rose to the occasion. He said, you know what? I'm going to take over. Okay, he stepped up and he did his job, right? He has a responsibility. He's the best player. He was the captain. Actually, no, in 2010 he wasn't the captain. In 2014 he was the captain. 2010 we still had an old player who was the captain. He was an assistant captain. But so here, it sort of, to put in your European context, I'm a big football fan. I'm a Juventino. Roberta, are you a Juventino as well? Juventina for you. Let me know. Do you support any football, soccer teams? Anyone else? But yeah, guys, so here it explains who Crosby is, right? Who Crosby is. So Crosby is to Canadian hockey what an amalgam of Beckham and Rooney would be for English football. The biggest star in Canadian sport, yet one who had been largely anonymous during the latter stages of the tournament. Okay, so once again, we have the past perfect. Okay, so this article is perfect for learning the past perfect, no pun intended. So Crosby is to Canadian hockey what an amalgam, right, coming together of Beckham and Rooney would be for English football. Okay, so here we use is to Canadian hockey because it's a fact. Okay, it's a fact. What an amalgam of Beckham and Rooney would be for English football. So an amalgam means if you put Beckham and Rooney together, okay, that's what Sidney Crosby would represent, so conditional, right? So the would here is conditional, right? Would be, right? To be conditional, okay? Conditional. All right, so what Beckham and Rooney put together, okay, so that's not something that's normal, right? It's not a fact like Sidney Crosby is, okay? But, okay, it's something that's conditional because you can't put Rooney and Beckham together. So we use the conditional, all right? The biggest star in Canadian sport, yet one who had been largely anonymous. Anonymous means that, right, he wasn't there almost, right? He wasn't playing. So he wasn't playing well, which is true. They got that fact right. Okay, he was sort of like a ghost out there, okay? But in the most important moment and the only moment that a lot of people remember, he stepped up, right? He did what he needed to do. Okay, so right, past perfect again, right? Who had been? Okay, had been is past perfect, right? So if we go and say, this is when Sidney Crosby scored the golden goal, the most important goal in the past. He scored in the past. So this is now, right? He scored, but before that moment, okay, he had been anonymous. He was terrible. He was a ghost. Okay, so, and the reason why, so yes, he had been is somewhat continuous, right? But why don't we use the present perfect, the past perfect continuous in this case? Because to be is a stative verb, and with stative verbs, right, verbs that aren't actions, okay? So to be is just your existence. It's not an action, right? It's not like walk or to run, something like that, right? Or to talk, okay? To be, it's just a state, okay? It's what you are, okay? So for stative verbs, this goes for all tenses, right? Don't use the continuous form, no ing, so it stays in its simple form. All right, that's pretty important. Okay, so Annie was asking me the other lesson to talk about present perfect and present perfect continuous. This has the same effect as present perfect and present perfect continuous, right? For stative verbs, we can't use the present perfect continuous. Okay, we cannot. We just use the present perfect simple. Okay. Yes, some stative verbs can act as action verbs, but that's a little more complex. Okay. Any questions about that? I'm afraid the chat isn't working. I don't know why it's not working. Let me see, guys. Wait 1 second. I'm just gonna reload the page and see if it works. Okay, wait 1 sec. Let's see if it works. Okay, so we're back. I think the live chat is working. Okay. Yeah, the live chat is working. So you can chat with me again. Okay. So sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. I couldn't see your messages. So Rob said more or less almost, and he says Rob says nope, but my brothers are. I used to watch Inter matches. So you're Rob Inter. You're Roberta. You're Inter. You're from Sicily. You gotta support Juve. You know that. But yeah, guys. So stative verbs. Okay, you don't use the continuous. So Roberta, I'm gonna do something for you. You wanted to learn about the present perfect and the present perfect continuous. Let's do a quick lesson, even though a new video will be coming out on my channel about this very topic. Very cool. Okay. So, first, guys. So the first thing you need to know for stative verbs. Okay, for stative verbs, just use the present perfect simple. Okay. So, for example, I've known Bill for 10 years. For 10 years. So here we have present perfect simple. Why? Because to know is a stative verb. Okay? It started in the past and continues. Okay? Right now we're talking about actions that started in the past and they continue. So it started in the past and it continues now. Okay? But you don't say I've been knowing. You say I've known, because to know is a state. It's not an action. It's not something you do. Okay? So, I've known Bill for 10 years. Okay? Another example is I've belonged to this club for 6 years. Okay? So, it started 6 years ago and you still belong to that club. Okay, but we don't say I've been belonging to this club, because belong is a stative verb. And a stative verb, it's not something you do. Okay, it's not an action. Okay, think about some things that aren't actions. Okay, think about, I like to say as well, something that's part of you. Belonging to the club is part of you. Knowing Joe, it's a part of you. It's a part, I don't know if you can see my heart, but it's a part of you. Okay, so that's what a state is. All right. Number 2, okay, you have to look at action verbs. Okay, and action verbs, the first thing, okay, if it's an action that was completed, okay, in the past, but with an effect on the present, we use the present perfect simple. Okay, so for example, I've run 10. Let's say I've run 5 kilometers today. Okay, so present perfect simple. Why? Okay, because the action, okay, the 5 kilometers are complete. So that's complete. Okay, in the past, 5 kilometers done. but, okay, we have today. Okay, so that's if it's a number one, if it's a recent action, we can use the present perfect simple. That's completed. Number two, if it's something with an effect on the present, like maybe you're going to run more kilometers today, right? I've run 5 kilometers so far. You could say I've run 5 kilometers so far today. Okay, so far means up until now. Okay, for the Italians listening, fino adesso, finora. Okay, but I've run 5 kilometers so far today. Okay, so up until this point, but that means I can still run more. There's the possibility of me running more. Okay, so that effect on the present, we can use the present perfect. But if it's an act, so run is an action, right? But if it's an action, okay, that is continuous, that started in the past, and continues, okay, now we use the present perfect continuous. Okay, for example, okay, Mark has been sleeping since 9 a.m. Okay, why? He's taking a morning nap. Okay, Mark has been sleeping since 9 a.m. So he started sleeping at 9 a.m. and he is still sleeping. So sleep is an action, it's not a state. You don't always sleep. So it's something you're doing. So when it's something you're doing, it's an action, not a state. And it started in the past and it still continues now. So Mark has been sleeping. Present perfect continuous. The difference between, right, I've known Bill for 10 years, a stative verb, know is not something you do. It's a part of you. So we use the present perfect simple. But for an action, okay, we use the present perfect continuous, an action that started in the past and continues now. Okay, not a completed action with an effect on the present, like I've run 5 kilometers so far. Okay, that the 5 kilometers arc, okay? Pretty important stuff. And the last thing, this is the confusing part, okay? Annie and Rob, the confusing part is talking about long-term habit verbs. Okay, long-term habit verbs like work, okay, live, play, etc. Okay, there are more. We can use both. Okay, it doesn't matter too much. So I can say I've worked at this company for 10 years. Or you can say I've been working at this company for 10 years. Annie says, Rob, you have been playing hockey since 3 o'clock. Okay. Yes, that's a good example. Annie, right? It's an action, right? But this is where it gets interesting, Annie. Sometimes play can be considered a stative verb, okay, when it's a long-term habit verb. So let's look at this example first with work. I've worked at this company for 10 years. Okay, in this case, like in number 1, the speaker considers working at the company to be a part of them, to be a state, not an action. Why? Because it's a long-term habit. The problem is there's no strict definition about what a long-term habit is. So if the speaker considers it a long-term habit, it could even be for 2 years. I've worked at this company for 2 years. If that person feels like it's a part of them, it can be, you can use the present perfect simple. But you can also use the present perfect continuous. I've been working at this company for 10 years, right? Because work can also be seen as an action. So for long-term habit verbs, I'd say it's your choice. Okay, obviously the longer the period, the more likely a native speaker would be to use the present perfect simple, I've worked, okay, or I've lived, okay. So let's take a look at now play, right? So Annie says, you've been playing hockey since 3 o'clock. Perfect, right? I love that example. Okay, that's an action that started at 3 and it's continuing now. Okay? But Annie, if I say she has played hockey, okay, she has played hockey okay, since her childhood. Okay, she has played hockey since her childhood. Okay, so that's once again a state. It started in the past and still continues now, but it's a state. According to me, it's a state for her. So according to the speaker, it's a state. So that's where it gets tricky with these long-term habit verbs. So the long-term habit verbs, it's your choice. Rob, anyone else listening, it's your choice. But the first two, right, the stative verbs, know, belong to, exist, etc., right, you have to use the present perfect simple. I've known, I've belonged to. Number 2, action verbs, if it's complete, then you can, if it's complete and an effect on the present, I've run 10 kilometers so far today, you can use the present perfect simple. Okay, but if it's continuing, he's been sleeping since 9 a.m., present perfect continuous. Is that clear? Rob, Annie, is that clear? Is that clear? I'm going to pull up a link specifically for Annie and specifically for Roberta, because she's Italian. Okay, and why I'm going to pull up the link is because it's about present perfect continuous and present perfect. Okay, and I made this video. The problem is my channel used to be just for Italians, but I'm coming out with a new video for everyone, for all English learners. Okay, but this one has a bunch of examples. Okay, as well for the present perfect versus present perfect continuous versus past perfect versus past simple. Okay, so that's pretty cool. But like I said, everyone listening, I'm coming out with a new video, present perfect continuous, past simple, for all of you guys, a bunch of different exercises. All right, pretty cool stuff. All right. So Roberto says, thank you, I'll watch it later. Yeah, make sure you watch the exercises at the end, are super cool, super good. Okay. Look, guys. Look, do you want a special surprise? I'm gonna put my nonna on the phone. Wait. Listen. Ciao.
Ciao, come stai, nonna?
Sto bene, tu?
Yeah. Allora, sei contento oggi?
Molto contento.
Yeah. Into the God, yeah.
Yeah.
E allora, a che ora devo andare per prenderla?
Devo andare verso l'una.
Ah, verso l'una devo andare.
Sì.
Poi ho parlato con Mare, dice che ti saluta pure a tua suocera e a tutti.
Ah, sì,
con Mare
sì.
e Mannucci.
Sì, con Mare e
A
Mannucci,
te pure
sì.
ti saluto.
Sì, certo.
Yeah. E non ti ho chiamato prima, chissà dormivo, ho detto non voglio svegliarlo, sai?
Sì. Anche
Perciò
perché ieri abbiamo festeggiato ieri. La mia
cosa?
scuola. Festa di Natale, ti ricordi? Te l'ho detto. Te l'avevo detto.
Alla scuola?
Alla scuola, sì.
Me l'hai detto, lo so. Ma voglio dire, no con loro. E viene quel ragazzo fidanzato come si chiama la ragazza, la cognata tua, come si chiama?
Peppe.
Come?
O fidanzato di Maeva?
Maeva si chiama?
Sì, Maeva, yeah.
Maeva.
Maeva.
No Eva, Maeva.
Maeva, sì.
Yeah, Maeva. Mai l'avevo sentito questo nome. Eva sì, ma non Maeva.
Maeva è, no, è quebecchese, non è italiano.
Yeah. E noi non basta che tutto va bene, lei che è già sull'apparecchio, eh?
Sì, già sull'apparecchio, yeah.
Sì.
Ah, nonna, ti posso richiamare? Devo fare qualcosa.
Ok,
Ok?
nonnina.
Ok.
Ciao.
Ciao, grazie. Ciao.
Ciao.
You see, guys? That's Sicilian here. So what's super funny, if you guys are listening, I don't know if Roberta, you just saw, she just said sull'apparecchio. Okay, sull'apparecchio is sull'aereo, right, on the plane, right? That's dialect. But yeah, yeah, that's my nonna. I'm gonna call her back. I promise. I'm gonna call her back. She's the sweetest woman. I love her. Sorry about that, guys. I hadn't spoken to her. I hadn't spoken to her in a while. So I just spoke to her. I've just spoken to her right in the past. I've just spoken to her, but before that, I hadn't spoken to her. Right, past, perfect. See, I turn everything into a lesson. Yeah. So that's pretty. Yeah, my nonna. Good. Let's move on. Guys, I can only do. Okay, let's do one more page here. Do I have it prepared? Okay. Okay, let's do this here. Okay, so let's fade me in. Next page, the last page, guys. So sorry. Annie says, "Why don't I have a grandmother of another nationality? And as far as I hear, the professor has a fiancée, not a girlfriend." A fiancée? Who said fiancée? A fiancé? Maybe one day. Maybe one day. You want to see? It's her birth. You know, it's my girlfriend's birthday today. She's coming back. She's coming back right now from Italy. That's what my nonno was saying. I was like, yeah, contento sogno. Yeah, I'm happy. Hey Alex, by the way, thank you for joining us. Look what I made her. A bunch of pics of us and stuff like that. I think she's gonna like it. And I have a poem, and I'm gonna write it here for her. Yeah. Anyway, fun stuff. But yeah. So let's finish this article for you guys. Okay. So, yet what a time to discover a date with destiny, as Canada swept forward 7 minutes and 40 seconds into overtime. The man wearing the same 87 shirt as most of the 19,000 crowd. So the man wearing the same 87 shirt, right? Continuous wearing, okay? As most of the 19,000 crowd. So what he means by that is most of the crowd was wearing his jersey because he's such a big name in Canada, okay? Took a second to control the puck, right? The puck's the little disc. To control the puck, and another to whip it past the splendid U.S. goaltender Ryan Miller. Okay, so he basically Crosby. It's a funny story because no one actually knew that he had scored. Okay, so he came around the corner. And he called for a pass from this guy named Jerome McGinley. He said, Iggy. And he tapped his stick on the ice. And tapped his stick. That's what you do when you call for a pass. You tap your stick on the ice. Tap the stick. And he said, and you can hear it. If you go watch after, You can watch on YouTube, guys. Sidney Crosby golden goal. Okay. And you can even find one that says like all languages, and it's super cool because you can hear it. You can hear it. The Canadian, you can hear the Canadian broadcast, the American broadcast where they're sad, the Canadian where they go crazy, the British, they go crazy. They're happy. I think everyone was cheering for Canada. I don't know why. That's the feeling I get. But you can hear an Italian one. You can hear all of it because it was broadcast all over the world, right? But yeah, so he took a second to control the puck, right past Simple, and another to whip it past the splendid U.S. goaltender Ryan Miller. Okay, cue utter hysteria. So cue, right? Something that just happens, right? Cue. So the director says cue, gives you a cue to do something. So the goal cued this utter hysteria, complete like craziness, emotions, like hearts coming out of our chests. Like it was beautiful. Okay. This replaces Paul Henderson's winning goal in the 1972 Summit Series against the Soviets as the single grandest moment in Canadian sport. It's Jeff Hurst moment. Carried on a wave of so let me comment on that first. 1972, Canada played Russia in the Summit Series. Okay. I might argue that 1972 had greater importance because it was during the Cold War, and it's known as War on Ice. And you can look that up too as well if you want. 1972 Summit Series. Okay. And there's actually a famous speech by an Italian-Canadian guy who was probably the best player on the team. Our best player wasn't there because he was hurt, but his name is Phil Esposito. Okay. And he has this brilliant speech. You can watch it on YouTube. Okay. Very, very just like heart-wrenching speech. Like, yeah. So moving on here. Carried on a wave of patriotism at Canada Hockey Place and the exhortation of one national newspaper. The biggest ever TV audience was expected to tune in to the high noon duel. Okay, tickets were changing hands for up to $10,000, and they were queuing at bars to watch the game from 8 a.m. So, guys, people were lining up at bars starting at 8 a.m. in the morning, right? And at 10, and they were paying tickets 10,000, 10 G's, guys, 10K, just to get into this game. It was crazy, all right? I remember this day very well. I was in grade 8, and I had one of my prep sessions for my confirmation. Okay, for my Catholic confirmation, and my Catholic confirmation prep session was at 6 o'clock, and the game started at 3, but it went into overtime, so it went a bit late, and we were literally just, because I had to go, right, I was watching, and we're just like, hey, score, but we're so nervous. No, don't score. No, don't score. When the U.S. was in our zone, right? But yeah, so it was crazy. They scored. We're like, yeah. Okay, we gotta go to the confirmation prep. Okay, preparation. So then we went to the church, All Saints Church, and to do my confirmation prep. But a few people were late because they were watching the game. Good times here in Canada. All right, and why this was so important as well, okay, is because Canada, like if you want to continue reading the article, you can at the link, but why this was so important was Canada, as a host nation, because the Olympics were in Canada that year, as a host nation, to get this medal, the 14th medal, they broke a record for most gold medals. I believe most gold medals as a host at an Olympic Games. I'm pretty sure that's the record. So yeah, it was a crazy moment, great for Canada, and yeah, pretty crazy. So Annie says, Professor, we found out now how old you are. Yeah, because I said I was in grade 8 in 2010. You can do the math, I guess. Yeah, I'll let you guys do the math. But yeah, it was a crazy moment, great moment. Also, 2002, I remember I was a youngin back then, but Canada also won gold, but it was the first time they had won gold in 50 years, okay? In 50 years. Why? Like I said, professionals didn't go to the Olympics, so our great Canadian hockey players weren't at the Olympics because professionals didn't used to go to the Olympics. So guys, do you have any questions about the verbs from today? Present perfect continuous, about hockey, or about some of the vocabulary in the article? Did you enjoy this lesson? Did you enjoy the article? Did you enjoy some of the Canadian history? Also, I got my hair cut. I shaved. Oh, the barber shaved me. So I guess I look a bit younger as well now. So when I add my long hair, I look older as well. Yeah. So guys, let me know how you found this lesson, and if you have any questions. As well. At Leva says, hello, I just finished my exam. Oh, how did it go at Leva? How did it go? You missed a fun lesson today. We were reading this article about the 2010 Olympics in Canada, in Vancouver, and the gold medal men's hockey final. Super fun and cool. It's something that's near and dear to my heart, Canadian hockey. And guys, yesterday, I don't know what the temperature is today, but yesterday it was minus 20 and minus 31, right? I just want to make sure you heard me correctly. Minus 31 with the wind chill here in Montreal, okay? So yeah, it was bitter cold. So yeah, it was bitter cold. So Annie says she's 26. It's a good age, Annie. It's a good age. What's your name? Do you want to tell us, Annie? What's your name? What's your full name? Rob says, no questions. Pretty interesting lesson. Now I know more about hockey and present perfect continuous. Yeah. Hockey, man. It's good. It's a good sport. You guys should get into it in Europe, man. It's a special sport. It's a special sport. Roberta. For Italians, this is an interesting stat. Actually, so in 2006, right? 2006. Remember Roberta, Annie, 2006, 2006. They had the Olympics in Torino, in Turin. Okay, they had the Olympics in Turin, and Italy doesn't usually qualify for hockey, but they did because they were the host nation, and the host always gets to send someone to the Olympics. Okay, so Italy, what they did was they got people like me, okay, Canadians with Italian heritage, to play on their team. So I think they had 9 Canadians. They had 9 Canadians on their hockey team, but that had Italian heritage, so they got them, their citizenship, and they played for Italy. Actually know a guy who coached that Italian hockey team. So yeah, So Canadians, Italians, they've got that bond. But they were smart. They got their Canadian boys over there playing hockey for them, and they, you know, yeah, which was smart. So Annie says, I have two questions unrelated to this. Can, could, may, ought to, should, as far as I know, as far as I know, polite version of can is could, and also may. Is there a rule when it's better to use could or may? Okay, so that stuff, Annie, is a whole lesson. It would take me an hour to explain. But what I can tell you is usually we use may for I. Okay. So like, may I help you? Right? May I help you? Okay. Usually we use could for you, right? Could you pass me the salt? So we don't usually use may for you. So like, may you pass me the salt? No. Okay. Could I is possible. All right. It's more like it's more used. Okay. But my suggestion is don't use may you. Okay. May you is a no. Okay. So don't use may you. Okay. That's something that's important. Okay. That's something that's important. So if you want to do stuff like that, Annie, I can do that in another live stream. Okay. Rob says smart decision about Canada, Italy taking Canadian players. Yeah, it was fun. Fun times, guys, back in 2006. Sorry, my throat. Yeah, so we'll go over ought to, may another time, okay, Annie? I remember that we used may only at school when we asked if we could go to the toilet, never again. Yeah, may I go to the bathroom? Yeah. So this is something that happened to me growing up, right? So a lot of teachers would say, so if you said to a teacher, "Can I go to the bathroom?" Can I go to the bathroom? Okay, or the washroom, as we say in Canada a lot of the times. Can I go to the washroom? Okay. They would say to you, "Can you?" They would say, "Can you?" Like, do you have the physical ability to go to the bathroom? Like, can you go pee? Can you go? Like, and it would be super awkward, and like all the students would laugh, ha, you know. Um, so we'd say, oh yeah, may I go to the bathroom? Okay, but studying the grammar more in depth as an English teacher and everything like that, and studying linguistics and stuff like that, can I go to the bathroom doesn't really seem like a mistake to me. All right. And to a lot of other people, linguists as well, because this is a debate. Okay. But and only talking about your capability to go to the bathroom, of going to the bathroom. No, I don't think so. But yeah, so a lot of students stress about these things. I wouldn't stress too much about them. Yeah, may is more polite. Could is the past of can. It's also a polite version of can. Right? So I could play basketball, but now I can't. Right? So now I can't. Right? But I could. But now I broke my leg, so I can't. And he says, our teacher would ignore us until we told her correctly, so it was hard for bad students to go to the toilet. That's a funny thing, because like I grew up, I did half my subjects in French, half in English, so my French is pretty good. It's very decent, and because my girlfriend's French Canadian, so I'm all around French. But obviously my native language is English. And then I've got my Italian. I can speak with my nonna and stuff like that. But a lot of kids growing up, like in English Canada, they just their French isn't that great, and a big joke is like, oh, they only know to say, "Est-ce que je peux aller aux toilettes?" Like, okay, because they want to get out of French class. You know, that's a good excuse to get out of French class to say, "Est-ce que je peux aller aux toilettes?" Okay, that's what they say all the time. But yeah, guys, I'll go over that in the next live stream. Okay, the next live stream is supposed to be tomorrow, okay, December 21st at 10 a.m. Will any of you guys be there? Let me know. Do you guys have plans? What are your plans for this weekend, guys? Do you have big plans? I'm taking my girlfriend out for her birthday tomorrow. We're going to the spa. Then I'm going to take her to this nice sushi restaurant. And he says, Rob, lucky him, he knows English, has Italian grandparents, and learned French. Come on. Yeah, I consider myself fortunate for that. Any for sure. But you guys are great. You guys are great in English. I'm very, very surprised. But I remember very few words. So yeah, Roberta, that's super true. I don't, what's it called? A lot of my older, okay, this is my problem with the Italian school system. Okay, you guys want to do everything, but at the same time, you're not covering anything. Okay, you study Latin, Greek, obviously Italian's, you know, a big thing. That's the number one. French, Spanish, English, like focus on something, you know? Like I don't know, that's my opinion. But a lot of how Italy used to be back in the day, they didn't study English at all. They studied a bit of French, right? Well, back when my grandparents were in school, that it was just Italian, but they studied French, right? A bit of French, no English, okay. But yeah, when my grandparents came here, the thing with them is there were so many Italian immigrants, and they worked, well, especially my nonna, she worked in a factory. So learning English wasn't her number one priority. You know, she worked in a factory, and she just spoke with Italian immigrants, right? Like my kumare, who's kumare Manuch. That's the way it was, guys. People say, "Oh my gosh, they've been here for so long, they don't know English." Blah 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 blah. They don't know French. They don't know French either. My nonno is a bit better because he's a shoemaker, and he had his own shop, so he had to communicate a bit more with clients. But still, he'll tell you, my English isn't good. I can't communicate well. If you speak quickly, like let me give you an example. If I speak at this pace to my nonno, he won't understand, okay? So let's go back to your comments. So Rob says, I studied French as weekend with nephews. I don't see them. Okay, so Rob, remember, now I don't see them since I haven't seen them in a couple of months. All right, I haven't seen them in a couple of months. Present perfect. Okay. And he says, so it's cool, yeah. Enjoy your time with your nephews. So enjoy that, Roberta. And he says, I studied Italian, and at first year, my teacher was laughing when I mixed it with Spanish because at the time, Spanish series were popular. Okay. Cool. Annie, you got to keep going. Keep going with Italian. It's a great language. Roberto says, "Hi, you're right. We say that Italian school system is old. Yeah, it's old in the sense that I don't know this like all these different, but it's too many languages. Like there has to be a focus. I don't know. That's my opinion." Alex says, "Most of the things I know in English I learned by myself instead of the Italian school." Yeah. Yeah. What can you do, right, guys? That's the public school system. Anyway, guys, I have to go. I have to pick up my fidanzata, my girlfriend, at the airport, which is, yeah, I'm super excited about. Oh, there was a big controversy yesterday. Let me tell you guys this. So, my girl and I had my Christmas party for my job last night, right? So, my girlfriend, okay, she calls me, she's all frantic and she's like, "Oh my gosh, they canceled my flight." So what she was supposed to do was Rome. I can tell you now because it's over, but Rome, Paris, Vienna, Montreal. Okay, crazy, crazy, pats. Okay, um, absolutely insane. But her flight to Paris from Rome to Paris got canceled. She's like, "Oh my god," because there's a strike. Okay, French men in Paris. Why is there a strike? Okay, especially near Christmas. So they're striking in Paris. Okay, her flight was canceled. So she called me. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you need to help me." Blah 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 blah. So anyway, I help her. I find her a flight from Rome to Vienna. Okay. Luckily, there was a cheap flight, so she didn't, and she's getting reimbursed for the other flight, so she didn't lose any money. But then she gets there, and there's this whole controversy. Oh, are they going to let her in because she's supposed to be coming with a connecting flight from Paris and not directly in Vienna? Okay, so like, you know, um, what's it called? I got lost because I was reading Annie's comment. Do you speak to her in English or French? So I speak to her in a bit of both. Yeah, it's a lot of times she speaks to me in French and I speak to her in English. That's what happens most of the time. But we throw in Italian words as well, because sometimes like you just need like, oh, this guy is scostumato, you know, you know. Sometimes you just need a nice Italian word. And she's Italian Canadian as well. So we mix all three because sometimes just words work better in different languages. But yeah, I like speaking to her in English, and because I can just like be myself a lot. But I add in French, I add in Italian. But yeah, we speak both. We speak both together. What's it called? Rob says cool. Yeah, we add in those Italian words, or dialect words as well. Her family's from Gaeta and Campobasso. Yeah, Campobasso both. Yeah, they practice there all day long. Yeah, which is nice. I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. The fact that I get continue, especially because the Italian I have my family to practice with, but the French, most of my friends aren't francophone. They're anglophone because a lot of my friends are from Toronto or they're Italian, and most Italians, I don't know if you guys know this, that came to Canada or Montreal, right? They went to English schools, not French schools. And actually, that's why in Quebec now, they have what's it called? They have rules about immigrants coming in. Now they have to go to French school. They're not allowed to go to English school. So let's say you guys immigrate to Canada, your kids couldn't go to English school. They'd not Canada, to Quebec, the province of Quebec. They'd have to go to French school. No choice. Yeah. So back to the story. She wasn't sure if she was going to get in because she wasn't supposed to be coming from that thing, and she called Air Canada and they were like, "Oh, we don't know if they're going to let you on, blah 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 blah." So she was stressing out. "I'm not going to be home. Je vais pas être là pour Noël. I'm not going to be there for Christmas." You know, girls are dramatic. I was freaking out a bit too. Inside, no lie. But I was at my company, my school where I work. The Christmas party was yesterday, so it was nice. We had this fancy French dinner at this place called Monac in Montreal, here in the Old Port. So the Old Port is like the old part of Montreal, where like we have the Notre Dame Basilica, and it's a replica of the one in Paris. They made it here, and it's super nice area. If you ever come to Montreal, you have to go to the Old Port. You have the old buildings, everything. Yeah, so she's on her plane. She'll be back soon. I'm going to go get I'm going to take the metro, take the subway, and here in Montreal, we call the subway or the underground the metro, because all the signs are metro, like in French, métro, or in Italian, metropolitana. Yeah, you guys know. So I'm going to go take the metro. Her parents are going to get me, and then I'm going to drive because her mom doesn't drive on the highway, and her dad had complications anyway with his health. So he can't drive right now. He will be able to drive soon, which is good. I hope he gets better. But guys, thank you so much for being here. Rob says, Annie, are you from Croatia, right? I have a friend from Croatia. Oh, wow, that's good. Sì, caro. Dove? Well, Annie, you're good. You're good. All right, guys, don't forget, drop a like on this video. Please like this video. Tell your friends about the channel, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for being here. God bless you guys. Christmas is coming up. Spend time with your family, with God, and yeah, it's a joyful time. Time to rejoice, guys. Time to rejoice. I'm happy. Super happy. Super duper pooper happy. Yeah. So I'll see you guys soon. Are any of you guys attending tomorrow, or maybe you might be attending the live stream? Let me know. Before I leave, anything you want to say? Let me know, guys. Yawning. Rob says, I hope to be here also tomorrow. Good. Thanks, Rob. I hope so too. And he says, nice. Perfect. Bye. Alex says, see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, Alex. Is your name Ale? Like Alessandro? Alessandra? I don't know. Yeah. I've got to call my nonna, so I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys in a bit. All right? Thank you so much. God bless you guys. Bye-bye. Oh, Alessio. Alessio. Nice to meet you, Alessio. I've got to call my nonna, Alessio. Ciao nonno. Tutto bene, tu? Sì, sì, sto preparando. Sì. E sì, 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 dovrebbe arrivare a luna. Sì. Prima. Sì, sì, mo ci vado. No, con i genitori. No. E tu come stai? Tutto bene? Non ti disse quando vieni? Sì, può essere lunedì. Lunedì è il 23? 23. Yeah, esatto, yeah, penso il 23. Yeah. È così. 2 settimane. Sì, ma ho 22. Sì, sì. 22. No, 10 giorni dopo. Sì, è così. No, non credo. No, 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 no. Lavorava per il governo di Quebec, la delegazione di Quebec. No, non ci va. Non ero un tirocinio, non era un lavoro fisso, capisci? Sì, ieri abbiamo festeggiato. Sì, abbiamo avuto una festa, una grande festa. Monac, no, Monac, un ristorante francese nel Old Port, Porto. Bello, bello. Molto caro, mi sa. Sì, 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 certo. No, è una scuola. La scuola, sì, sì, la scuola ha pagato. Sì, sono contento. Eh, pure ieri. Ieri morivo. No, 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 no. Cametro. No, no. E lì o no? Ci devo dire qualcosa. Ok, va bene. Ah, mo devo andare a cattare i sciuri. Sì, eh. Yeah. Sciuri per tutto l'anno, no?